Cursed. Cursed. We all go a little mad sometimes.
There's a formula to it. A very simple formula.
I saw the boogeyman. I saw him outside.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Hey, Tomb Dwellers! Welcome to a brand new episode of Tomb of Terrors with me, Old Man Brad. Whether you are new to the show or returning for another episode, thank you so much for giving me a listen. If you love the show, drop me a review on your favorite podcast app, or you can become a patron, patreon.com/oldmanbrad. And make sure to follow over on social media. Just look for Old Man Brad on Blue Sky and Tomb of Terrors over on Instagram. And of course, you have to be following me over on Letterboxd. Just look for Old Man Brad so you can see all the watches I do. So I'm back with another episode of It's Not Another Review. I just have an interview. We're talking about a possible upcoming project. I had Ricky Glore return to the show. He and I chatted a few years ago when he was working on getting his sweetmeats up and running. He's back. He's joined by Nicholas Hiance as they talk about their campaign and their upcoming their film they're trying to get off the ground called Run. It's a new slasher film. It sounds really awesome. I really hope this campaign is successful and we get to see this movie. It sounds like it will be just a fun time. And the great part is Giovanni Frezza, who people would know as he was the kid in House by the Cemetery. He was in Manhattan Baby. He was in The New Barbarians. And then he left acting. After 41 years, he's going to return. And he has a part in this film. Before we get into the interview, if you can, support this project. I would love to see this happen. It sounds, after you listen to the interview, it sounds like an awesome story. They have a Seed and Spark campaign going. I'll have a link in the description. But if you can, support the project. But enough of my ramblings here at the beginning. We're just going to dive right into the interview with Ricky Glore and Nicholas Hiance as they talk about Run. And I will talk to you on the other side. My guests today were so eager to run over to the show and talk about their upcoming project. I'm excited to welcome back Ricky Glore, and this time he brought someone who's as cool as the other side of the pillow, Nicholas Hiance. How you guys doing today?
Better now that I learned that phrase, cool as the other side of the pillow.
You like how I worked that in there?
Hiance never surprises me. Like a couple years ago, we were on one of our long walks, and what did you call me? A dipshit? And like earnestly, you're like, what are you? Some sort of dipshit? Like very like 80s, like early 90s bullying. And I just stopped and I was like, what'd you call me? And you're just like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, was that too far? And I was like, no, what did you say? And you're like, dipshit. And I was like, I haven't heard the phrase dipshit in so long. So yeah, cool as the other side of the pillow. I understand the saying. I had never heard that before.
So you guys are here. You have a new project you're working on called Run. And how did you come up with the idea for it and, kind of tell everybody about it?
How did you birth the idea, Nick?
How did I birth the idea?
You got paid $100,000. You paid someone $50,000.
Yeah, that's how you get movies made. No, wasn't this idea originated from technically one of your old stand-up clips, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Gage, who was worked on our last film with us, Casually Cool, is currently in post-production, was all independent films. He's, jack of all trades, master of all. He was running a camera and he had an idea for Ricky, go ahead and do the bit for me.
The bit it was on my Dry Bar special and on my first album, I was about 360 pounds at that time. So visualize that, is that killers in 90s horror movies like Scream, and I know what you did last summer.
Too far. You don't have to visualize it right now. Actually, I don't think it's on Tubi anymore. But if you happen to see our film, All Your Friends Are Dead.
Good plug.
Our first feature film, you can see Ricky at 350-ish.
Yeah. definitely pushing it. And then like right before or after surgery for a couple scenes where it just helps me look haggard. But so the bit is the killer in those 90s movies, like if it was a group of teenagers, it's never the teenager that has the body shape of someone like me. If you're wearing like the ghost face, like tight, like spandex outfit, and you're just like, oh, I wonder who that's going to reveal themselves to be at the end of the movie. And like, and the killer was me. It's like, yeah, we knew it was you. You have like 85 pounds on all of us. Like, and you were chasing us through the woods earlier with that axe. You were breathing pretty heavy. And at one point we saw you lean up against a tree. Like, are you okay? So that was the bit. And Gage, I don't know how he stumbled upon it. He was just like, hey, man, he's like, he's like, I think that's a really funny bit. Can I write something for that? And then while we're filming Casually Cool, over the break in between weeks, because we filmed 2 weeks and had Saturday, Sunday off, he wrote up a short script that was called Run. It was the idea of, well, what if not over like a heavy set person with teenagers? Clearly there's no mystery there, and that's never that. He's like, what if that was the idea that a mass slasher could get old in age, and what would that look like? What would the hardships be? Blah, blah, blah. What he wrote is a short story, had a lot of heart and humor to it, while also playing with a lot of conventions of the horror genre and slashers in particular. We knew during the Casually Cool shoot, like I can speak to it, and I think Hiance can too, we all started melding pretty quickly, and that's how we all met, was because Gage was the social media liaison for a location that we were shooting at. And he was just like, hey, if you guys are looking for anybody on crew, I think I'd be interested in this project. And we were like, oh yeah, it does, like it pays very little and like a lot of like time, and you got to be 100% on this. Like we collaborate, but this is the vision and this is the thing we've all signed up for. And he was like, okay. For me, Gage, pretty quickly, we all hit a shorthand with him.
Yeah. Quickly jumped in, became part of the the gang of us, and I always mention, I feel like all of our films have been like summer camps. It feels like, we're all getting back together after not seeing each other all school year kind of thing. And now we get these 2 weeks generally, at least on our last two films, and hopefully on this next one, 2 weeks to really run around and just be crazy people getting up, meeting at 6 a.m., pounding coffee, and then by 6 p.m. everybody hates each other, but then we'll go to the Mexican restaurant and share a margarita or 20, and then get up and do it all over again. So
and so that is how this movie came to be. Gage wrote that short. When we had downtime, we were shooting at BB Riverboats in Cincinnati. We were actually filming one of the biggest days of production, which was the opening sequence of our film Casually Cool, where a mermaid washes up on the shores of the Ohio River on the Newport, Kentucky side. And so it was very cold. We had makeup, heavy prosthetics, elderly people in the scene. We had a cat in the scene that had to go to a certain mark, like the dumbest things to put together for a scene.
It's December, November. I don't even know. It's
December
outside.
December.
There's snow on the ground. And this is times where I'm just like, why did Glore write this? We have
but it looks awesome.
Oh no, the cat has an Instagram. It's an actor. It can hit marks. And the lady's like, I don't know, the cat might come over there. And I'm just like, okay. It's just like the love hate. I'm like, we are on the banks of the Ohio.
Yeah.
We have our actress laying down, barely on a mat that we're trying to seal.
Has to be walked on because her eyes are she looks waterlogged, so her eyes are completely white. She's in a Disney-like princess.
No, amusement park type.
Yeah.
No.
A ginger, a ginger fish. That should be the name of it.
We got some catnip, and we're like,
yeah.
Come on.
We're filming that this day, so there's a lot of downtime. There's a lot of hurry up and wait on any film set, but especially indie or micro, no budget. So while we're down, I'm reading the short. I was just like, oh, this is great. This is way beyond the joke. But I was like, I think this is the prologue to a feature. And I was like, and I think this is the outline. I think this is the beats. And we used the horror genre and the evolution of slashers from, say, like Texas Chainsaw, if you make Leatherface the first mass slasher in film, that all of that evolution was real. And they were like baseball players. It was like or Eric Hunter said in the last podcast, the Michael Jordan of killing people. So true crime, Ted Bundy's not just getting famous and then going to jail. He, in our world, there's a company called Hack and Slash who corporatizes the government's initiative of an act called the Free to Kill You and Me Act.
The Purge in a different way.
In a different way. And then, of course, it ends up being sold back to the people. Like the company who corporatizes the killers also creates slash insurance. So for a yearly premium, you can live your life as Sodom and Gomorrah as you want. You will not be at risk for getting killed because you're paying into the system that also could kill you. Again, this is all
Brilliant.
Peripheral, I think. But anyway, so when we're at B&B Riverboats, I go to Gage while we're doing downtime, like him and Hiance are talking about lenses and just being like, fuck, like it's gonna be really cold. We got to keep these lenses warm. Like, what about the drone? And Leland's just like, fuck the drone. Like it's gonna freeze in the air. Like everyone's just upset. I was like, hey Gage, I was like, you have a moment? And he's like, yeah. I was like, I think this is great. I don't think it's a short. I think it's the beginning of a feature. And I was like, and here's what it is. What if it's like Rocky, where he becomes huge, like Freddy Krueger in like 87, 88, like the heyday. Like there's plush toys, there's pajamas, there's a television series, there's rap albums, there's 1-800 numbers. Like it's just the fucking most commercialized big thing ever. And the juxtaposition of the two worlds is very weird. But what if he's that? But he sells everything to this company. And then when like the evolution of horror, when it shuts down in the 90s and comes straight to video, or when then the next thing that pops is Scream, he has to then conform to now a world that talks. And he's a silent Leatherface, Michael Myers-esque killer. What does he do? Well, he ends up having to retire and the company doesn't even give him a watch. Like, it's just like, all right, now you do not fall under the protection of us to kill anybody anymore. So he then lives in the shadows and becomes, in the gig economy, a worker for Schnellwell, where he does a delivery service like a DoorDash or an Uber, like rideshare, and he's perfect at it. This idea came out of, I wanted to publish a book, if I had ever saved the pictures, of all the weird delivery pictures that you get to confirm your delivery, and like people are in the reflection like with their hoods up and look, and like their bags there, and it's like super weird to see your house from that perspective. Well, what if this guy, like, he would be great at sneaking in people's houses? Like that was an option, that like leave it on my bed and like they're in a shower, Psycho-esque, and like the Schnellwell bag is just there and she turns and he's gone. So as we're sitting there in the BB, I'm like, all right, it's that. And then he wants to come out of retirement. And he does. So it goes from like Rocky 3, where Rocky's on the Muppet Show, and then Clubber Lang's the young and hungry one, except for now we're in Rocky Balboa. He and his partner, who's the man in the van, Hyde, have not been working together. Hyde still works for Hack and Slash. Run, which is our OG mass killer's name, who came from the farm, he doesn't know what to do. He's just now literally a piece in just the everyday machine, until some events happen where he's just like, fuck it, I love killing. I'm going to kill somebody. And he does, and it satiates.
Not only does he love it, but he's good at it.
Yes,
What
there's
he
an
was
art.
born to do.
Yes.
Right.
So the other comparison that I just thought of the other day was the movie The Natural. How Robert Redford just fucking loves baseball. The Odyssey journey that he goes on in that movie, that is Run. Is what if he could play in the majors? Well, he gets the majors, and it turns out that's not what he loves. What he loves is the game. So then, like, where is he going to end up? And so when we're filming this day, I was like, I think the outline is, then we end like with Freddy versus Jason, and it's Hack and Slash. We're in this ambiguous like 2006 when reboots and the Michael Bay Platinum Dunes, like Texas Chainsaw, were happening, or Run or Saw and Hostel. What if our Nick Castle, Michael Myers, our Run, ended up having to fight his own reboot? like a Tyler Mane, Halloween Rob Zombie, like David and Goliath, like Will versus Skill, like Rocky versus Drago. What if that's the third act and it's on his home turf? It's on the Run Ranch, which he had signed away to the company that was going to take care of him and didn't. And so while we're there at BB, I was like, what if that's the movie? And everyone was just like, yeah, all right, yep, let's write that up. Like, let's do it. We were doing a challenge, a self-imposed 2 feature films in 1 calendar year. We were trying to do this film, Truly Trudy, where we were not getting the budget at all close needing to do that. A pretty audacious musical. Kind of like we had to cancel Open House before Sweetmeats happened. When canceling Truly Trudy, we again had to convince, because like me, Hunter, and Gage started writing a feature script. We then had to kind of convince Hines to be like, all right, you know that other movie we were going to film in July? What if we did a different movie? No, wait. Put the gun down, Nick. Be cool on the other side of the pillow, Nick. Be cool. So yeah, so what was that like of us being like, hey, we're going to pivot again?
You know, you mentioned this with the movie, you know, coming out of retirement. One of your actors you have for the movie, I mean, retired at a very young age from acting and decided to go a different career. Giovanni Frezza is going to come aboard and be in the film.
You know, we just did the video of him today, where I love that he referenced not being dubbed in the movie, that he's aware of people hating his dubbed voice. I did not know House by the Cemetery when fellow friend of ours and producer and actor Mike Flincham and I watched Warriors of the Wasteland, which is also titled The New Barbarians. And when he popped on the scene, I was just like, oh my God, this kid is like prototypical Macaulay Culkin, like Home Alone, but he's kind of a badass scamp. And like he falls under that like Tim Drake Robin, Tim from Phantasm 3, or Michael from Phantasm, like that badass kid, like archetype. And I was just like, that kid's cool. And then I started seeing all of his other work within the horror genre. And I was like, man, I was in Chicago. This is 2015. And we're doing a Mystery Science Theater 3000 like show. And we're going to do Warriors of the Wasteland as our first movie. One of the writers of our staff was just like, what's the name of that kid? And we're like, Giovanni Frezza. And he's like, I think I work at the company downtown that he works at. And we're just like, what do you mean? He's just like, I have access to like pictures of everyone like in a database. And he's like, I've seen the adult version of that kid. He's pretty recognizable. He's like got a twinkle in his eyes. And this is even 10 years later after that. Emailed him like, hey, this is what we're doing. Would you want to participate in any way? Like film something, send it to us. We'll show up before the movie. You're in Chicago. Do you want to come? Like, do you want to introduce them? Like, whatever you want to do. Like,
yeah.
What are you down for? And he replied, he's just like, I haven't seen the movie since the premiere, Warriors of the Wasteland, New Barbarians. He's like, could I bring my teenage sons with me? And we're just like, fuck yeah. Like, yes. And so he came. They participated because we did like host segments like MST3K where we did drinking games because it was at a bar theater. He participated and was just such a good sport, just such a really nice guy, really appreciative of this sold out crowd of fans to see the movie and him. About 3 months ago, I was creating content to try to help our crowdfunding for Run on Seed and Spark. I don't like creating content unless it serves like a narrative. So I was like, all right, I know I want to have a bevy of slasher killers in the movie. What from things that we've already created could I take from and maybe reshape, re-edit on my phone pretty quickly for social media promotional posts and stuff to keep people interested and stylistically like show off different forms of slasher. And I was like, oh, we have this short that me, Nick, and Nick, our friend Mike Flincham filmed. And so I was like, oh, that character that Mike played in it is the motorcycle helmet, black leather, black jeans, black boots, black gloves, like put a JB whiskey bottle in his hand. He's got a yellow crowbar. Like we were leaning into modern contemporary giallo. And like even with the shots for that, I was like, all right, I'm going to re-edit this and make it a character called Vespa. And it's a giallo killer who is like that classic look and like has used whatever, switchblade, a bunch of different weapons. But instead of like riding a sexy like Italian motorcycle, his getaway is a dinky little Vespa. And his name is Vespa. And so I did that. I re-edited that, made it like a trailer for like a Vespa Takes America, like Grindhouse almost. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is the world of Run. Run has like an Italian slasher killer magazine with Vespa on the cover, and he idolizes him because he doesn't work for the government or this entity that owns him, whatever. He's a free range man. And I was like, okay. And then I did an exit interview completely in Italian using a Google Translator. I was sitting there on a Thursday night and I was like, this would be a really cool character to have in the movie and have it mean something. I was like, I still have Giovanni Fresa's number in my phone. I have not been in touch in 10 years. Text him out of the blue. I was like, hey, Gio, not sure if you remember me.
Hey, G-Dog.
Hey, G-Dog. Hey, G-Spot. Hey, G-String. No, I did call him Giovanni. And then I asked him, I was like, anything, like, what do you prefer to be called? He's like, Gio or Giovanni? You did the show at the Chicago Theater. We're doing this movie. I just wanted to see if you remembered me or if you'd be possibly interested. I see you haven't been in a movie in 41 years. And he's not like on the convention circuit. He's done like a handful. And as he told me, he did those for charity, which I was just like, oh my God, this dude is great. So I text him that and he responds. He's like, English is his second language, even though he's a brilliant engineer. He's very succinct and direct with his messages. And he's like, I do remember that night. It was a great night for me and my sons. We fondly remember it. Like, and have discussed. And I was just like, oh my God, that is fucking sweet. Like, that is awesome. And he's like, oddly enough, I have been thinking about dipping my toes back into acting. This project sounds like it could possibly be the thing that would be the most interesting. Please tell me a bit more. I told him the Vespa story thing I just told you. And then I said, also to manage expectations, your character would be pretty prevalent in the movie, but you would basically be in one big scene. Like you full on with the helmet off, like seeing that it's you. And that is this bowling alley melee scene where OG Run and Vespa. I don't want to say that we're going to do this kind of shot and then not be able to pull it off.
Just some things happen between the two.
Well, yeah, well, the raid style, old boy style.
Okay, yeah,
like continual killing of all the people in the bowling alley. And so I was like, so you would film for one day? And he was just like, this sounds perfect. And I was like, okay, cool. I was like, as you know, we ain't got no money. And I was like, could we take care of your accommodations, like flight and lodging and this small pay for the day? And he's like, that's fine. He's just like, honestly, he's like, I'm purely doing this out of morbid curiosity. This sounds like a very interesting project. He's like, I don't know if you know this. He's like, people know me of these horror movies, but he's like, in Italy, he's like, I was one of the top comedic commercial actors. Like I was like the poster child for a lot of brands, and they are always directed by big Italian comedy directors. And I was just like, oh, no idea. He's like, no. So he's like, I like this satire, like I like the satire angle that you are doing and kind of how you're approaching the story you're telling with horror. And so, no, he's been nothing but a gem of not having to explain a lot, and him straight up saying like, I just want to see you all do it. He's like, I just like, not like, and I want to see you fail and like lick your tears. He's just like, I want to like, he's an engineer and he's brilliant. Like he's a really, really smart guy. And that's why he left acting, was he wanted to play soccer and he wanted to go to school. He wanted to go to college, and his dad's like, or you could act. And he's just like, I did that. He's like, I kind of want to be a kid. After soccer, he was just like, then I pursued engineering, and he's like kind of never looked back.
Not only, I mean, getting him, it was a big announcement. Like Dread put out an article, and you know, there's been the videos, but you also are working with not only, you know, the wrestling community on the film, working on it, and then talk a little bit about the mask too, coming up with the mask for the posters and your promotion and stuff.
Deciding on the mask was because we've all talked about, I think each time we've done something like with All Your Friends Are Dead, it's a hard thing when you know you're making a mass killer and you're just like, fuck. All right. Was it this hard for them to make this decision? Like you watch the behind the scenes things and it's just like for Halloween, it was like, well, here's a clown mask and here's a William Shatner mask that I did some weird stuff to. And it's just like that one. And it's just like, okay, like, but who knows what is going to work at the end of the day. I felt pretty proud with All Your Friends Are Dead and Sweetmeats so far, even though like the pig mask is something like you've kind of seen in things. I felt like it was unique. This came out of, we had a bunch of Plague Doctor masks from a short film we made called Call. I had this dinky hardware store skull mask that I found at a local Ace hardware store a few years ago. And it was after Halloween, it was like $2. And it was just the only one hanging there in Newport, Kentucky. And I was just like, this is weird. I was like, this is interesting. And it's full head, it covers whatever. And so I had those. And when writing the script, 2 rules that we kind of had self-imposed on the writing staff side of things was I don't want to explain why he is. I don't want the backstory. I don't want the origin story. This is Leatherface. This is...
He just is.
He just is. And like there's things that you see, little nods of things that it's just like, oh, maybe that's okay. We're not doing a straight up flashback where his dad's like beating the shit out of him. And it's just like, oh, well, that's why. But so it was that and the mask. Like we have an explanation for it, but it's not part of the movie. And what it ended up being was I took one of the crow masks and I cut off the plague mask and I cut off the nose. I grabbed that skull mask and I just laid the crow mask over top of it and like put it in a executioner hood thing to like hold it all together. And I just looked at it and I was just like, this is weird. And this fits the character that we have, which is he's on a farm. These pieces, we played with the idea that the skull portion may be a cow skull. And we actually have like an artist rendering of what that would look like. And we're just like, no, that looks too weird. Like it's too indistinguishable. So I gave those pieces to Amy Hasselbrock, our executive producer, returning from Sweetmeats and Casually Cool. Each movie she does more, like everybody on our crew. She did some costumes for Casually Cool as well, and so many other things. But I just said to her, I was just like, I have these pieces, and this is what I think I'm going for. Would you want to take a crack at like nailing this down and putting it together? And she's like, oh my God, absolutely. And so Eric Hunter, Gage, and I were like, all right, well, this is what the mask is. This is what it means. This is what we're going for. This is the farmer, his outfit. This is what the silhouette will look like, because that's very important to a certain degree. She then weathered it, put it together, and that's what we have. And that's what you see on the poster, and that's what we've posted on the Seed and Spark, the evolution of the mask. And the thing is also within our movie is we see an evolution of his mask, that OG mask, but we also see the 80s version of that mask. And then we also get to see the scary movie Ghostface version of that mask. And then how it doesn't matter. His mask is going to come back. Like the OG mask is going to be the one that stands the test of time that people remember. But yeah, so Amy putting that together and working with Mark Schoenbach again of Sadist Art Designs, same as we did with our first poster of Sweetmeats of the pig mask. I said to him, like, not as I was worried, but I was just like, hey, I don't want it to be the same as Sweetmeats. I don't want to focus on the mask. And he's like, okay. He's like, I want to give you these pictures and then I want to see with no notes what you come up with. And he sent us this demo that incorporated the mask kind of in the clouds like you see it. And I was like, man, that motherfucker knows I love some Matthew Peak Elm Street posters, because that's so like Freddy and like the clouds, like Dream Warriors or Elm Street 5. Like, I don't know. There's just so many, like it evokes so much of the vibe that I wanted for the movie to have, like that cool VHS box art. The only notes that we gave him were we had visited the farm that we're going to be shooting at, that is the Run Ranch. I was like, can we get rid of this generic haunted spooky house that you have and use the actual landscape that is the farm, because the layout actually is perfect and it looks so. The poster that you've seen, that is what our location looks like, that setup, and it factors narratively as well. And he's like, yep. And so he did that, and then I was like, holy shit, you've done it again. Like Mark Schoenbach, you're mad genius. You've done he did Hearts of Darkness, Adam Marcus's documentary on Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah.
And that's like a beautiful, like all of Mark's work. If anybody has the coinage to acquire his talents, you will not be disappointed, because a little bit of my like worry of being like, well, I just don't hope that he gives us like something that looks like something else that he's done. Like, I really want something unique. I want to be the pretty girl, the dance that gets asked, giving him the materials and the script for the movie and having him ask a few questions and then him running with that idea. It just, I don't know, the way things have fallen into piece, like with Gary Kroger coming on board and his participation in acting that's going to be in it, Giovanni Freza, U-Bowl. Again, the movie lives in like a 2006 where his like House of the Dead, Blood Rain, In the Name of the King, like all of his schlock horror is coming out, and like our movie lives in that world where those things exist as well. And so him being like, yeah, I'll be a producer on the movie. Like, if it helps you guys out, go right ahead.
As I said, the working with the wrestling community, getting them involved with everything. How did that come about?
That was Gage and Eric Hunter. They both had, without knowing it, knowledge of Lord Crew, aka Sean Stewart, his real name. Gage was just like, what also was around in like 2005, 2006, that era? He's like, wrestling and horror. And he's like, and that's why like it's so like synonymous with Freddy versus Jason as well. And he's like, I think if we're going for David and Goliath, he's like, I think there's this guy that I know who would be great as that, and he's a wrestler, and maybe we could get the wrestling community involved. And then Eric Hunter's like, so if we haven't thought of anybody for Run 2.0, there's this wrestler guy. Like, I think he'd work really well. And I was like, Gage is just talking about a guy. And they're like, oh, I wonder if it's the same guy. And it was. Sean coming on board as Run 2.0 and our lead fight choreographer for the movie. Again, things that we've not done. That worries me. Like you're talking about.
And what like doesn't worry me is I think it's
I've never shot stuff like that.
Well, the wrestling community, they're performers, right? And they know how to make things look good for audiences and the camera. So it's just a win-win for us to bring these folks on, because they know how to make things look big and huge, but very safely, right? Like, I'm gonna flip you over, I'm gonna body slam you, and we're both gonna get up, and everything's gonna be fine, which is like perfect for what we're trying to accomplish on this.
Yeah, and,
from like a no budget indie film, like this look as big as possible. Like, we have this arena, we have this farm, so we're touring the farm, and man, like the slats in the barn, it's like the weather, the wood's all weathered and like the sun's streaming through, and it just looks like like you spent $1 million trying to build this, and I'm like, oh, I cannot wait to see run versus run in this environment.
Well, and it's Andrew Thorpe, who I worked with in Chicago, and returning Timmy Hart Barron from Casually Cool and Sweetmeats. Also, Tara Hazel, Timmy's wife, gets to be in the movie as well. She's playing like an American Mary audition kind of character that is just BDSM to her own husband, not to his character in the film. I cannot wait for that. But Andrew Thorpe, who I worked with in Chicago and was in Casually Cool, played Lieutenant Frank. He's playing OG Run, and he does have that Nick Castle like stature of just like, you don't look like the biggest badass, but like you look athletic. And like in real life, Andrew is a Gold Glove boxer. And so having him and his athletic abilities is great with like Sean, who we've already had some fight choreography meetings. And like Nick was saying, they know how to do it safe. They know how to do it the same way kind of every time to make sure that safety is ensured. They want the safety of everybody else. And what's also great about them is they understand story structure. So during our meetings, Sean's just like, all right, in a wrestling match, if the heel like starts off like this, and we're just like, yeah. And we're like developing the final fight between Run and Run 2.0. He's just like, well, okay, the heel is going to look like they have the upper hand at the end of the first part of them. And like he broke down like the structure, and we're just like, that's what we need to do in this scene right here. And he's just like, well, here's 3 different moves we could do at this moment. And he's just like, he hasn't seen the farm yet. We're actually seeing that in 2 weeks. That in the bowling alley, we're walking through with him, Eric Hunter, and Gage to be like, all right, now we're in this space. Let's pinpoint these blocking, these set pieces. And then in July, Andrew Thorpe is coming down, and with Sean in the barn and probably a gym, we're going to start blocking their fight in real time, which I'm glad Hiance is not nervous. I'm just like, man, I don't want to film bad action, because that's where we ultimately want to go, is like up the ante each time of like, what can we do and focus on with our limited budget?
Well, that's why he's cool as the other side of the pillow. He's not worried.
Yeah. Now he is on the show. We're there filming. He's like, I don't know what to do. Gage isn't here. This isn't a camera.
That's where my voice gets to. Yeah, that's right there.
Let's speak a little bit to the Seed and Spark campaign and kind of like the support that is kind of started for the film itself.
It's wild because it doesn't exist. And I don't know if that's because people don't have this is a real hard moment for me, because I could be like, why isn't anybody funding my movie? Like my ideas. There's a lot of press. Like you said, there's the Fangoria Giovanni release. There was the Rue Morgue U-Bowl. There's been a lot of positive press and interest that is not equating to dollars on the Seed and Spark. I'm like, you know what? I think this sounds like a pretty good movie. We're going to make it. We're going to figure out how to make it. You could be a part of it, and you could kind of pre-buy into the movie and get these exclusive things that, like, especially people in the horror movie love their physical media, like love their things. And I think a lot of them are pretty darn cool. The number one being Ultimate Home Video doing a limited run of Run VHS tapes. And like now with everybody involved, just the names Gary Kroger, Giovanni Freza, and U-Bowl on one movie, like on a VHS tape. How that is not sold out is shocked me. It's weird. It's hard right now because we are in pre-production mode and thinking about the crowdfunding, which we have to do. It's hard because it's just like, I don't want to worry about that anymore. Like, I want to make this thing that we're making for almost no dollars anyway, and just start figuring out like how we're going to execute all this stuff.
I know, because I've been following it. I've been sharing. I've been telling people like,
yeah.
Then recently it's kind of slowly, it's started to pick up a bit for you. I know that.
Again, I'm not trying to be a complaining little whiny person here. I'm very much appreciative. I love fan stuff as well. The horror community especially is so Jekyll and Hyde of like, we want new things. Like, quit giving us the same old thing. But then they're like, but give me everything set in the 80s on VHS. Like, they want everything, they want everything nostalgic, right? And so one of the things with Run is, luckily we have that incorporated into the narrative of the movie. I think the movie Run also really hits a certain, like, from 30 to like 70, like demographic of like the video store era. There's something just about the community experience in the video store and how interesting and like how memorable they were to people, that I think that's something that we're trying to capture in our movie, is that entertainment quality of like, when you're done, you're just like returning the VHS and you're just like, oh man, that one was fun. Like, or just you're eating your popcorn.
Besides the Seed and Spark, where else can people follow along to Run, to what's going on with the film, and kind of get excited for it? I like the idea. Like, I think this idea is is fabulous. And
I'm a big fan of the idea of Gage has said, he's like, we're telling a story, how I likened it to The Natural earlier. He's like, as a social experiment, he's like, I'm really interested to see how we get an audience basically chanting Run's name like Rocky at the end of the movie, where it's just like, this dude fucking kills people. Like, like, yeah, this universe is a little different based on their laws, but like, this dude's insane. Like, this is fucked up. I feel that way too, where like the movie, I'm just like, oh man, this is fun. That is every horror genre and most franchises, where it becomes about glorifying the killer, and they become, you know, quippy or whatever. They become the central focus and the main piece. Sorry, where you can find more stuff out.
I was gonna jump in and start.
I know. Yeah. Instagram at NKY Films, at Glore Ricky. One of my favorite places to go, because I think it's all in red. What is our website?
TheNKY.com.
TheNKY.com. Believe it has not only the direct link to The Seed and Spark, it also has, I think, the teaser to Casually Cool right up there. So if you've heard anything that we've talked about, the one thing we haven't discussed is the support of Newport, the city of Newport, and Bev Holiday. If you watch the teaser for Casually Cool in Cincinnati as well, why wouldn't we film at the Hall of Justice when it's in Cincinnati right here and we live right across? If we can get the rights, put in the paperwork, got drone clearance, went up there and filmed, got rained out one day. We're just like, all right, can we reschedule? And they're like, yeah, we came back. That's in that teaser trailer, as is the Purple People Bridge in Newport. Beautiful shots, because the local community is just like, and I forget we're 40. So like being older helps, being like, can we do this? Because I still think of the mentality of us being kids, but like major kudos to our neck of the woods. And that's what we already have with Run as well. Like a lot of locations, the bowling alley, Bellwood Lanes in Newport, that is letting us shoot for the bowling alley scene. And yeah, again, the city of Newport, we say we make movies at a micro budget, but then like whatever we say was the budget of the movie, you have to add like $10,000 worth of favors that we're getting. So if something looks good, that's the incentive to like chip in some coinage and like pre-order the movie. Like, get a screener link if you don't have a Blu-ray. You can pre-buy the movie that you're also funding to make, because like a screener link, you'll get to watch the movie when it's done.
Yeah, and on our website, we got links to our other projects. Like All Your Friends Are Dead was on Tubi. It's no longer on Tubi, but I think we're going to get it up on YouTube here shortly, so we can kind of get it out to more people. Sweetmeats is on the Troma Now app, so you can get a free trial for a month and go watch Sweetmeats, and then binge all the Troma stuff in that month. So, you know, make sure you cancel, but watch Sweetmeats.
Make sure you have a great mental health provider and a therapist.
the Sweetmeats is fun. I mean, I enjoyed Sweetmeats.
Yeah, so
I love
to give you an
Sweetmeats.
idea of like what we're doing out here. I think Casually Cool is something completely different from our first two kind of things that we had going on. And we got the teaser trailer, which I think feels different. And hopefully later this year, we'll have a little more information, things we can share. It's currently in post-production right now. But no, we're really looking forward to, you know, getting the band back together. So all the links are on our website, so you can go there and kind of like find everything you need to. Yeah, and then feel free to reach out to Ricky if anybody has any questions. You just pepper him, DM him all day long. So
Be careful, he'll talk your ear off.
Just so lonely.
Well, I want to thank you guys both for coming on and chatting with me, coming back, Ricky. I mean, you came back. I think Sweetmeats was in this same kind of state the last time you and I chatted.
We are still going to, as a tease, if it incites anybody to go to the Seed and Spark and contribute, you and I are going to talk further about possibly, if Giovanni is open to it, hosting a night at Esquire or Kenwood, whatever is the most advantageous for a screening with them. I think maybe a double feature, Warriors of the Wasteland, New Barbarians, and House by the Cemetery.
Yeah.
And so, again, that's something that, like,
if he's here,
go to the Seed and Spark. Yeah, if he's here. If he's not here, he can't go to these things.
Exactly. But thank you both so much for chatting with me. And man, I wish you luck. Support this. I want to see it.
we're looking forward to you hosting the movie at the screening. That's what we're aiming for. I think that would be a
Yes.
perfect opening night. You gotta do all the hard work.
People will come out and see it. It'll be awesome.
Thank you so much, Brad.
Thanks, Brad. Later.
I want to thank the both of them for taking time out of their day to chat with me. This movie just sounds like a blast. If they can pull it off, it sounds like so much fun. I mean, Giovanni Frezza, Gary Kroger, they've teamed up with the wrestling community. I want to see this. I want to see this movie. I want to see this world of slasher killers as they age in a story. It just sounds like a great concept, and it could be a really fun movie. I hope it all works out for them. And hopefully, if this happens, Giovanni will be out here, and hopefully we could put together a fun screening with a Q&A with him. I don't have too much more to say. Just support the project if you can. Go follow them. Go share all their stuff. That helps as well. I'll have links to everything in the description. Can't wait to see how this project turns out and have them back on to chat about the finished piece when it happens. Well, that will do it for this episode of Tomb of Terrors. If you don't already, make sure you subscribe to the show so you don't miss anything that happens over here, whether it's these interview episodes, short reviews I do, Tales from Tubi, verses that I do with my wife, and of course, The Year of Paul Nashi. We have 5 movies in. The next one will be out very soon, where Captain Steve from Bucket of Chum podcast comes on as we talk about Hunchback of the Morgue from 1973. Having a blast with this series, but just subscribe and you'll never miss it. I'm also doing additional reviews for over on my YouTube page. Just look for the Tomb of Terrors, as well as Patreon. But I'll be back soon with a brand new episode. Just snuggle up in that blanket, turn off the lights, because it's okay to be scared. We'll talk to you later, everybody.